Hi friends, today I am making low-carb pasta as well as regular pasta with a bacon sauce. So if you put bacon in anything, it gets better. So that's what I'm doing today. This is an Italian sauce that I've been making since I was a teenager and I love it. And it's bacon and onions. So I'm going to start by first turning on the stove. I do want this over medium heat, and I like to start my pot with a little bit of olive oil. So that's what I'm doing there, and that's really good olive oil from Whole Foods. It's their 365 brand, but it's really good. I was surprised. Sometimes store brands can be a little iffy, but I really like this one. And if I don't get that, I get the Filippo Barrio, which I also like. So I'm opening up the bacon package there with a paring knife. I like to use that better than the chef's knife. It gives me more control. So today I'm going to be using about 5 slices of bacon. And, if you serve this to 4 people, that's only like one and a little bit of a slice of bacon for everybody. So it's really not that excessive. So, but use as many as you'd like. That's up to you. Just like with garlic. Garlic is very personal how much garlic you add to a recipe. I think it's the same thing with bacon. But this is a sauce actually from Rome. And when I was in Rome, I had this sauce and I had been making it myself for many years, even though I did very little cooking growing up. But there were certain things that I made, and I learned how to make pasta because I come from an Italian family and it's what I love to eat more than anything. So I had this sauce in Rome and it's the best that I've ever had. Mine doesn't compare. If you ever go to Italy, have Amatriciana, it's what it's called. And I had that in a little hotel in Rome and it was delicious. So I just add the bacon to the pot and make sure that I break it up a little bit. It gets all stuck when you first slice it like that. And I'm putting it in with a certain amount of, it's a big slice of bacon. So I cut it into big pieces. I think that if you're making a sauce like that, where bacon is the star of the show, then it should be a larger piece. I don't cut it into tiny bits. And now I'm going to slice my onion. And this is very easy to do. If you're new to cooking, this might be a little difficult for you. A knife that big can be intimidating, but you just cut it in half and then peel it. Peeling can be a little difficult. So a lot of people I know use onion powder, and I don't do that. I prefer the fresh, even though it's a little bit of work. But I have a small bowl there where I put all of my trimmings from whatever I make, and it's my little garbage bowl so that I don't have to keep going to the trash can every 5 minutes. So I'm cutting into the onion lengthwise and then going the opposite way, just slicing it like that, and then I'll cut across it to make a dice. And that's how you cut up an onion. It's really easy. And for this sauce, I like onion, but this was kind of like a larger onion, so I'm only using half the onion. The other half goes inside a little plastic baggie, and I put that in the fridge so that the smell of the onion doesn't go all over your fridge and your vegetable drawer. So put that away. Don't put it in the refrigerator just like that. Some people do that. They just throw the onion into the drawer like that. Put it in a baggie first. It's one of those homemaking things that you learn over time. So I have my garbage bowl there, and I'm breaking up the bacon as it's starting to cook. I like to keep this over medium-high heat when I first start it. And once you put the onions in, you can turn that down a little bit. Mine was over medium that day. So that's what I'm doing there. And later I'll show you what that looks like inside the pot. And I'm trying to play around with how I film my cooking videos. So if you want to leave me an idea of how you like to see it. Do you like to see inside the pot? Is this okay where I'm showing you what I'm cutting and all of that? So let me know down in the comments how you would rather do it. And here I'm showing you what the bacon looks like. It's cooked quite a bit already. You don't want it to be totally crispy. But you do want it to be a little browned. So browned is okay because once you add the onions have a lot of moisture. So that's going to keep it from browning even more. So you need to stir that as much as you can to make sure that the pieces move around in the pot. And now I'm turning it down a little bit because it was going a little too fast for my taste. And that's what you need to do when you're cooking. You need to pay attention. Pay attention to what your food is telling you. And you go by smell and you go by your ears. What does it sound like? Is it making too much noise? That means it's cooking too fast. So you have to pay attention. So that's one of the things you learn once you've been cooking for a long time. But you see me there processing the garlic, and I just buy the garlic already peeled. Sometimes I buy regular garlic, a whole head of garlic, and I just peel it the same way. I just put the blade of the knife on the cutting board and then whack it. And it's fun, takes out your aggressions for the day. And then I'm just dicing the garlic. So I'm going to cook the onions for a little bit and then move on to the garlic. And then, today I'm using quite a bit of tomato products. And you see me adding the onion right now with the blade of the knife there to help me get it all into the pot. I'm going to let that work by itself for a little bit, and then I'll add the garlic because the garlic has a tendency to burn if it stays in the pot for too long. So your onion should be moving ahead for a while before you add the garlic, and then I'll take that time to open my cans of tomatoes. I like canned tomatoes. Sometimes I add canned and fresh, but canned tomatoes are fine. It's one of those things that it's actually better canned. I don't like the color of only fresh tomatoes in a sauce. I don't think it's strong enough. So, I try to add canned tomatoes. And here I'm using a 28-ounce can of crushed tomatoes and a 15-ounce can of fire-roasted tomatoes because the sauce is very smoky. Fire-roasted tomatoes are smoky by themselves. The bacon is very smoky, so this gives the flavor of a wonderful sauce. So this sauce tastes really good because of that. So I also add a little bit of tomato paste, and you'll see me adding that in soon. I try to fry the garlic a little bit in the bacon fat. And one thing to say about the bacon fat, it's really not a lot. The bacon that I used was not too fatty, so I left it all in. I don't drain it. That's just how I do it. I really don't think it needs to be drained, and I'll show you inside the pot so that you see that there really isn't that much fat in there. So I'm adding the tomato paste on one side and the garlic on the other side. I'll fry the garlic a little bit in the oil. Here I'll show you closer. So this is a much better way of showing you. So I'm letting the garlic fry a little bit. If you are adventurous, you can add a little bit of red pepper flakes. But I was making this dinner for all of us, for myself and my son and my husband, and they don't like anything spicy. I love spicy food. So when I'm making this just for myself, then I add probably a tablespoon of red pepper flakes. That's how much I love heat. And they are hot, it really burns my mouth, which I love. So, but today I'm not using any red pepper flakes because I'm making it for the rest of the family. But then you let your tomato paste fry a little bit. And this is over, moderate heat. So it fries pretty quickly. And then you add the tomatoes. Oh, sugar first. I forgot about the sugar. I add a little bit of sugar to cut down on the acidity of the tomatoes. So that's probably 2 teaspoons of sugar that I added here. And you let that fry the tomato paste first. And it gives it a wonderful flavor. It makes the sauce really less acidic so that it's not difficult to eat. And I think the sugar makes it or breaks the sauce. And now I'm adding the crushed tomatoes, and then I'm going to add the fire roasted tomatoes. And then my secret ingredient, I'll tell you what it is in a little bit. You'll see me adding it here. And I'm going to stir it first. Make sure you get everything from the bottom so that nothing burns. And then with that amount of liquid in the pot, it probably won't burn, but I like to make sure that it's stirred really well. And now I'm going to add the secret ingredient, which is beef broth. So beef broth gives it a taste as if it's been cooking all day, and you can make this sauce in half an hour. So that's one of the biggest shortcuts that I've ever found, adding beef broth to a sauce. If I'm making chicken parmigiana, I usually add chicken broth, but any other kind of sauce, whether it's puttanesca or this Amatriciana sauce, I add beef broth. It gives it a delicious flavor and makes the sauce taste as if it's been cooking for the whole day. So it's really a nice shortcut to have because you don't need to spend, 2 or 3 hours cooking the sauce, which is how I grew up making it. Now I can have my favorite sauce in half an hour, and I'm used to doing everything really quickly anyway. So I'm putting everything away here. I'm just showing you a little bit of homemaking along with the cooking, and I like to put my ingredients away. What I do is that when I'm cooking, I use the ingredient and I put it aside. I move it to a different part of the countertop so that I know that those are the things that I'll be putting away as soon as I have a minute. As soon as something is simmering or cooking, I just move it to where it belongs so that the kitchen is not a big mess by the time I'm done cooking. I'm always thinking ahead, and there are a few dishes in the sink. I do not like dishes in the sink. I do them immediately, and I'm emptying my little garbage bowl into the garbage disposal there. I'll be turning that on and putting everything immediately into the dishwasher. Sometimes there are certain things that I do by hand. I do my knives by hand. I don't put the knives in the dishwasher. These are good quality knives. If you are in the market for knives, buy Wusthof. I've said this before. And Wusthof is one of the best quality knives that you can buy. They are a little pricey, but they're totally worth it. I've had this knife that I'm washing right now. I've had it for 21 years. So, and I never put it in the dishwasher. I wash it by hand. It doesn't need much. And I have it honed and making sure that it's taken care of. I do it professionally about twice a year. Just take it to a place that will sharpen your knife for you. At home I have an electric sharpener, but that's something that you can do to take care of your knives. And then cooking is a joy. It's a joy if you have the right tools. Make sure you take care of them, that you buy good quality tools so that they will last a long time. There's no point in buying a knife and then needing a new one 6 months from now. I think that's a waste of money. So I try to invest in good quality tools for my cooking. I cook 3 times a day, so it's really worth it, and it really pays for itself for in a very short time. So invest in good tools for your homemaking, for your cooking. That's one of the pieces of advice that I can give you. And it's the same with sheets, with towels. Make sure you buy the best quality that you can afford. And here is the low-carb pasta, carbonara. I bought this on Amazon, and I'm boiling some water while the sauce is cooking with that piece of equipment there on top to keep the boiling up from happening. And here's the finished result. That's the low carb pasta, which I'll be eating, and this is thick spaghetti, which my family will be eating. But they were delicious, and I loved it. Everybody loved dinner that night. So thank you for being here with me. I appreciate the time that you've spent here. And if you want this kind of content, I'll be posting some more low carb videos. Since I'm on a diet, I'm trying really hard to lose weight. So if you are interested in this type of content, let me know in the comments. And I'm excited that you're here. I'll be posting a lot of homemaking and cooking content. So thank you so much for your viewership. Thank you for being here. And I'll be seeing you next week. Thanks. Bye.